Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribhāśākacārya Aṣṭottara Śatāśi Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribhāśākacārya Aṣṭottara Śatāśi Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading, unfortunately I got the wrong verse for today, so we're a little off the normal path of the Bhagavatam, but that's the nature of this world. Everything's off in Kali Yuga. No. So this is second canto, second chapter, text number 6. Evam svachitte svata eva siddha Atma piyoto Bhagavan Ananta Tam nibito nitya tato bhajata Samsara hetu paramascha yatra Evam svachitte svata eva siddha Atma piyoto Bhagavan Ananta Tam nibito nitya tato bhajata Samsara hetu paramascha yatra Evam svachitte svata eva siddha Atma piyoto Bhagavan Ananta Tam nirbhito nitya tato bhajata Samsara hetu paramascha yatra Evam svachitte svata eva siddha Atma piyoto Bhagavan Ananta Nirbhito nityatato bhajata Samsara hetu paramascha yatra Evam svachitte svata eva siddha Atma piyoto Bhagavan Ananta Nirbhito nityatato bhajata Hetu Amapyoto Bhagavan Ananta Nirvito Vikratato Bhajeta Samsara Hetu Paramascha Yatra Evam Svachitte Svata Eva Siddha Nirbhito Nityatato Bhajata Samsara Hetu Paramascha Yatra Evam Suchitte Svata Eva Siddha Abhiyoto Bhagavan Satya Evam, thus, Swachite, in one's own heart, Swata, by his omnipotency, Eva, certainly, Siddha, fully represented, Atma, the Supersoul, Priya, very dear, Artha, substance, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ananta, the Eternal Unlimited, Tam, unto him, Nirbhita, being detached from the world, Niyata, permanent, Artha, the supreme gain, Bhajeta, one must worship, Samsara Hetu, the cause of the conditioned state of existence, Uparama, cessation, Cha, certainly, Yatra, in which, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Thus, being fixed, one must render service unto the Supersoul situated in one's heart by His omnipotency. Because He is the Almighty Personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited, He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshiping Him, one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence. If one can please repeat. Thus being fixed, one must render service unto the Supersoul situated in one's own heart by His omnipotency. Because He is the Almighty Personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited, He is the ultimate goal of life. And by worshiping Him, one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence. Purport. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 18:61, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the all-pervading, omnipresent Supersoul. Therefore, one who is a yogi can worship only Him, because He is the substance and not illusion. Every living creature is engaged in the service of something else. A living being's constitutional position is to render service. But in the atmosphere of Maya or illusion, or the conditional state of existence, the conditioned soul seeks the service of illusion. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakapadrubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So this first part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks about the first line of this verse. Evam svachitte svata eva siddha. That the Supersoul is situated in the heart. Srila Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita, that Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddesher Junachishtati Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Jantra Rudhani Mayaya. That the Supersoul is in everyone's heart and directing the wandering of the living entity. So the living entity is wandering. That as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that Brahmanda Brahmite Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. That the living entity is wandering. It's like sometimes we may be in a car and we're looking for some address, so you're going very slowly, going from one place to another, looking for the right house. So this is the living entity, param param, that at every step we are looking for Amrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that in relation to the devotee. A devotee at every step is looking for the nectar of Krishna consciousness. But every living entity, I've been making this point in several places, that every living entity is looking for Krishna. There's nothing else to look for. But when we can't find Krishna, we find the closest substitute, which is usually family, friends, nation. This is our very poor substitute, because we're looking for Krishna for one thing, which is Amrita, or a loving relationship. So if we can't have that loving relationship with Krishna, we will have it with our mother, father, children, wife, husband. Of course, those things gradually in Kali Yuga, even those relationships they break down, they become degraded, and they're full of faults. Sometimes the parents are angry at the children are angry at the parents. And what to speak of inheritance, that can cause total disruption in family affairs, especially if it's a wealthy family and there's many children and there's a big inheritance. I've seen very nasty results from that situation. So, but we're all looking for Krishna, and He's right in the heart. And there it says here, Eva Siddha. He's fully represented. Siddha means perfect. Otherwise, it's also, He is the perfect solution to the material problem. The Srila Prabhupada is saying something that he has said again and again. Everyone has to serve. If we can't serve Krishna, we will serve someone else or something else. Everyone in this world has something to serve or someone to serve. Nowadays it's become more popular to serve a cause. climate change, you know, all these different problems that we have in the material world, people dedicate themselves. Because again, we're looking for Krishna, so we'll look for the biggest, the greatest thing, the biggest thing. No. Just to serve one's children, family, friends is usually not enough. We need something else. So very patriotic people, they will serve their country. And very conscientious people, they will serve some cause for the betterment of humanity. But and even some people, they're compassionate, they will serve the animals. So, but a devotee does all of this in one step. Adyati tat sarvamidam viditva, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that Vedashu yagyashu tapasu chaiva daneshu punyapratam pratishtam, that study of the Vedas, austerities and penances, all these things are accomplished in one step, just by serving Krishna. And also serving all of these different temporary and secondary or tertiary causes or objects is all accomplished by serving Krishna. In previous verses, it speaks about, especially one verse back here, a few verses back, verse number 2 and 3, it speaks about Ata Kavinamashu Yavararta. Otherwise, this whole world and Shabdasya hi Brahmana Esha Panta Yan Namavir Jayati Di Apartai, that this whole world is like jugglery of names and forms. The whole world is like that. It's just like if you take a rope and I tie the rope to the column here, and I pull it taut and I go like this, there's a wave that goes back and forth. No. So the material world, these previous verses, they speak about the material world is like that. That time is moving like a wave through the material atmosphere. And then the wave goes up, and we have Vedic civilization, Greek civilization, Roman civilization, Turkish civilization. Then we go down a few others, Mongolian civilization, Russian civilization. Then it was British civilization, that affected India, and the Mughal civilization. Those both affected India very much. And then now we have American civilization. Actually, they're not civilized, they're really uncivilizations. But, it means they have power. They have so much. And then now maybe China, the Chinese get their opportunity. And then somebody else. This, when Srila Prabhupada first arrived in New York, the devotees, he told the devotee, he first established some degree of Krishna consciousness, and then in 1968, he had the devotees chanting in the street, and there was an article in the New York Times, which is a very big, famous newspaper, that these strange people are dancing in the streets like crazy men. So they brought that article to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada said, so he wrote an article. First he gave a talk, and from that talk they made an article. Who is the real crazy person? Then Prabhupada said that just like this place, New York, previously belonged to the Indians. No, not the American Indian, native Indians. And then the Dutch, and then the British, and now the Americans. And Prabhupada said, who will come next? But they say this is ours. And we say that this body is mine. Just like in the Bhagavatam it speaks. It says, who is the real owner of the body? No. This is coming up in the purport. Who really owns this body? No. There's one spirit soul who seems to have control to some degree, but then some little microorganism says, no, this is my body, and reproduces, establishes his family there, little amoebas or whatever, and they take over. Then you get sick, and then some other type of organism comes in, and the government, they give you a number, you are X 7534 everybody, and if you want to leave this place, if you want to operate, you have to have an identification card, and you have to have a passport. You belong to us. This body belongs to us. And then the mother and father say, this is my child. Or the child said, this is my mother. He establishes ownership. And then the vultures, they're thinking, this is my future meal. Or the jackals and the vultures, there's my dinner very soon. So who is the real owner? Krishna. So therefore, in this verse, it says, Swachite swatta eva siddha. Krishna is the perfect owner. Krishna is fully capable of owning this body. So, therefore, Srila Prabhupada continues, a conditioned soul works in the service of his temporary body, bodily relatives like wife and children, and the necessary paraphernalia for maintaining the body and bodily relations, such as the house, land, wealth, society, and country. But he does not know that all such renderings of service are totally illusory, as we have discussed many times before. This material world is itself an illusion, like a mirage in the desert. In the desert there is the illusion of water, and foolish animals become entrapped by such an illusion and run after water in the desert, although there is no water at all. But because there is no water in the desert, one does not conclude that there is no water at all. The intelligent person knows well that there is certainly water in the seas and the oceans, but such vast reservoirs of water are far, far away from the desert. One should therefore search for water in the vicinity of the seas and oceans and not in the desert. Every one of us is searching for real happiness in life, namely eternal life, eternal or unlimited knowledge, and unending blissful life. But foolish people who have no knowledge of the substance search after reality of life in the illusion. This material body does not endure eternally, and everything in relation with this temporary body, such as wife, children, society, country, also changes along with the change of the body. So, in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it says that Tejo Varamari Yata Vinimayo Yatra Tri Sarvam Risha, that this whole material world is just a combination of fire, water, and earth. And these different combinations, wonderfully done by the Shaktis, the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They combine together in such a way that it creates this illusion. So in the Bhagavatam, it speaks about this illusion. Where does it come from? Maya dvitiya viniveshita syat. It comes from thinking that the secondary cause, Maya, is the real cause of everything. The atheistic view, the illusory view that everything is caused by Maya. And therefore the result is Ishada Betasya Viparyayo Ashmiti. Viparyaya. Everything is upside down. Everything is reversed. And therefore we think that the Supreme Person, if that person exists, must be there for my enjoyment. So, Ishara Petasya. We forget that the Lord is supreme. And we think that we are supreme and the Lord has to, I've said many times that people come, especially in South India, it's very common in many big temples. People come with some coconuts and some bananas, They give it to the pujari and some donation, of course. And then they go to the other side, they get some tulsi leaves. But what they really think is that I'm getting blessings, I'll have a new house, new car, That's what they want, or some material blessing, some position, more money. So they're thinking that Krishna is very foolish, that I give some bananas and I will get a car. Where will you get that? Try taking some bananas and coconuts down to the the Toyota agency and see if they'll give you a car. Even if you bring 500 coconuts and 2,000 bananas, you won't get a car. But we're thinking Krishna is such a bad business person that Krishna will give you that. So this is what people are thinking this way. And therefore the Bhagavatam says, Tanmayato Buddha abhajitam. When one wakes up one's intelligence and see this is all just the waves of Maya passing through the material world, then one understands Bhaktyai Kaye Sham Gurudeva Tatma. That this whole illusion can be taken away by Bhaktya Isha Eka, by simply dedicating oneself to devotional service, and Gurudeva Tatma, and worshipping the spiritual master like the Supreme Personality of God, meaning representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, who is the spiritual master? Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I offer my obeisances to my initiating spiritual master and unlimited shiksha masters. So we have to see, even material nature is a master. As the Avaduta Brahman points out in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, that he sees everything. He sees the dog, the prostitute, the bird, the earth, the ocean, everything. He sees some aspect, as Krishna explains in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Vibhuti manifestation, the Vibhuti incarnation. Otherwise, anytime you see power, opulence, or the 6 opulences of Krishna manifested within material nature, then you know that just like last night, I don't know how close all of you live, but there was some very big concert which kept us awake for a long time. So loud. So some woman is thinking, now I'm famous. People are clapping, hey. And I heard that. I could hear that in the background. And so but what is that? Where is that fame coming from? Where did her singing voice come from? Where did the music come from? It all comes from Krishna. So people forget about this. And then the Bhagavatam says, Avidyamano yavibhatta hidvaya. This ignorance, this illusion is coming from the duality of the material existence. Diya datur swapna manorato yata. And what is the nature of this illusion? Diya, our intelligence, datur diya, our intelligence becomes overwhelmed by swapna, by the sleep. We have 2 types of sleep, swapna, manorata. Swapna means the nighttime sleep. When we're in a dream, sometimes we think this is reality. If it's a nice dream, materially speaking, I'm very opulent, I'm enjoying life, then we think, yeah, let's keep. When you wake up, oh no, that was nice. Or better, if you're dreaming about Krishna, and then you wake up. Of course, if you're dreaming about Krishna, if you're so fortunate, then when you wake up, you will think of Krishna. But if I'm dreaming about a tiger eating me, then I want to wake up. And then, we think, oh yeah, that's a dream. I accept, that's illusion. But Manoratha, the dream of material existence, every day, the Bhagavatam sees everything I'm doing in my daytime as another type of dream. It's just goes more slowly. But it's just illusion, as Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. It's just illusory energy. And where does it all come from? Tat karma, sankalpa vikalpakam mano. It comes from the mind just accepting and rejecting according to different standards of the intelligence. So therefore, we should wake up our intelligence. Buddho nirujyat abhayam tasyat. If we wake up our intelligence, and the intelligence is not the servant of the mind, but the intelligence becomes a servant of Krishna, then abhayam tata syat. Then one will be free from the fear, from the anxiety of the material existence, and one can actually see things as they are. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is speaking about. The two previous verses, they speak about renunciation, natural renunciation, understanding that it says that, are the caves all blocked up? Otherwise, I need a place to live. Are the caves all blocked up, and therefore we need to create all these apartment buildings? And no. Of course, sometimes a cave may be preferable to the brahmacharya ashram, because in the cave, at least you're alone. In the brahmacharya ashram, someone opens the window, I want to close the window, something. No. Or even we live with our family. No. There's always a disturbance. Someone wants to watch television, someone wants to do this, someone wants to do something else, someone wants to invite their friends over. No. So it's all so difficult, this material world. Everything is so difficult because we are acting on the platform of ahankara. I want this. I want this. Just like the children. No, I want a chocolate bar. I want this. I want some ice cream. No. And the parents, no, I want you to go to school. No, I don't want to go to school. No. And so always there's material nature. Prakriti stani karshati. We're struggling for existence. We're fighting amongst one another. So Prabhupada says, this is called samsara, or repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease. We would like to find a solution for all these problems of life, but we do not know the way. Here it is suggested that anyone who wants to make an end to these miseries of life, namely repetition of birth, death, disease, and old age, must take to this process of worshiping the Supreme Lord and not others. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddha yachitam ichati tasya tasya chalam shraddha. Basically, although Krishna is speaking about worshiping the devatas, he's actually speaking about something broader. He's saying, be very careful where you place your faith. Because wherever you put your faith, that will become the object of your worship. Therefore, we should be very careful that our Krishna consciousness doesn't become mechanical. That we just do this ritual and we do that. No. We have to understand what is the purpose of this artik. What is the purpose? Why do I offer incense and then fire and then water? No. All these things have a purpose. It means that I am trying to please the different senses of the Lord, and the fire is to see so that my eyes, my sense of smell can capture the prasadam offered to the Lord. And my eyes, by the light of the Lord. Not only the light seeing the deity, but the light within the heart, which is being spoken about here. That I can see Krishna within my heart. I can see the deity of the Lord. The water is purifying my existence. Bathing, Sarvatma Stapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. It means I'm bathing. What am I bathing in? I'm bathing in these previously mentioned things. Shreyakaidava Chandra Vitaranam. After cleansing the heart, Chetodarpana Manjanam, I feel the blessing that's coming. Krishna is entering. Krishna, I'm receiving Krishna. Because with a contaminated heart, I can't receive Krishna. I can't see the Paramatma within the heart. Because the Bhava Mahadvagni, because this forest fire of material existence blocks everything. I can't see. No. But now I can see. And Vidyavadu Jivanam. And therefore this transcendental knowledge, I will keep it with me. This transcendental blessing from the holy name, I will keep it with me, just like a wife, very faithful. I will not let it go. And then Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pativaram Vitamita Svadhanam. All these things I'm bathing my consciousness, I'm bathing my heart, I'm bathing my existence. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, through the chanting of the holy name. Therefore the chanting of the holy name accomplishes all these things, and much more. And so that's what's being said here, that if you want to get rid of these things, it is also ultimately suggested in the Bhagavad Gita 1865 that Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Mam Yaji Mam Namaskuru Mam Mami Vaishnav Satyam Te, that by becoming a devotee of Krishna and always thinking of Krishna, and by worshipping Him, Mam Namaskar. What does that mean? It doesn't mean just offering obeisances. It means following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. I follow the rules and regulations. I follow this process carefully. And then the result will be that Pratijane Priyosime. That Krishna says, this way you will become very dear to me. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. This is how you worship the Lord. We don't just do something mechanical and then we put our faith in money, in some form of security within the material world. No, we put our faith, and therefore the previous two verses say, why do we need so many material arrangements when everything is provided by the Lord? So if we worship Him and we become His devotee, then of course we're not going to live in caves necessarily. No, we have some comfort. Comfort is also necessary. According to one's conditioned nature, one needs a certain amount of comfort so that the mind will be peaceful. But if our whole life is spent looking for more comfort, no, otherwise comfort should allow us, whatever degree of comfort I need to increase my service to Krishna, that is fine. But when you try to get too comfortable in the material world, then you forget about it. Then it interferes with our service. So whatever degree of comfort I can accept that will increase my service, that is okay. No, we don't have to live in a cave. Srila Prabhupada says in the pastime with the Kurma Brahmin, in purport, Srila Prabhupada says, one should live very comfortably with one's family, and together everyone should chant the holy name of Krishna. So this is all right. It's not a problem. And then eventually we will be able to become a little more detached, but it should happen naturally. It should be, as Krishna says, Param Dristvani Vartade. It should be a displacement that Krishna consciousness enters into our heart and displaces, just like Srila Prabhupada's classic example of a cup filled with a glass filled with ink, and you pour milk, and then the ink becomes, first is black, then is dark gray, then is medium gray, then is light gray, and then finally it becomes white. So this is our process. Not that we try to give up everything in one step. No, some degree of comfort is necessary. If we at all want to end the cause of our conditioned life, we must take to the worship of Lord Sri Krishna, who is present in everyone's heart by his natural affection for all living beings, who are actually the parts and parcels of the Lord. And again, Srila Prabhupada indicates that all of us, Pramayan Sarvabhutani, we're all actually belong to Krishna. And he just puts us on these machines, through inside of these machines, the material body. The baby in the lap of his mother is naturally attracted to the mother, and the mother is attached to the child. But when the child grows up and becomes overwhelmed by circumstances, he gradually becomes detached from the mother. Although the mother always expects some sort of service from the grown-up child and is equally affectionate to her child, toward her child, even though the child is forgetful. Similarly, because we are all part and parcel of the Lord is always affectionate to us, and he always tries to get us back home, back to Godhead. But we, the conditioned souls, do not care for him and run instead after the illusory bodily connections. We must therefore extricate ourselves from all illusory connections of the world and seek reunion with the Lord, trying to render service unto him, because he is the ultimate truth. So what does it mean to extricate ourselves from all illusory connections of the world? One may become nervous. What does that mean? Just like when we hear the verse, Yasyaham anuginami harisyetantanam shanai, that when Krishna especially favors someone, he takes everything away. So when people hear this, I better not worship Krishna. He's too dangerous. Let me worship Shiva. He will give me more. But what did it mean, take away? It means that we hear this Bhagavatam every day, and we hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is how Krishna takes away the illusion and the attachments that result from that illusion. So Krishna will take it away. That's all you have to do. Chant the holy name, hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and associate with devotees. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended 5 things. That Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavata Shravana, Mathura Vasa, Shri Murtira, Shradhaya, Sevaya. That we do these 5 things. We associate with devotees, we chant the holy name, we hear the Bhagavatam, we purify our place of residence and make it like Mathura by having deities, and making the deities, don't hide the deities off in a closet. Sometimes I see this in someone's home. They have deities in like the farthest corner, hidden away from everything else, so that, I just have Krishna there as an insurance policy. When anything goes wrong, I just go, pray to the Lord. No, he should be in the center, in the main part of the house. So every time I come into the house, I offer obeisances to the Lord. He's there. He's there. He's the owner. He's the Lord of this house. I'm just living here under his shelter, under the shelter of his lotus feet. That's all. That's my position. So that way, we accomplish this. It doesn't mean we go off into the forest. Someone can do that. But generally speaking, even Narada Muni recommended to Dhruva Maharaj, no, you're a prince. You're not used to this forest life. You should go back home. But he was very determined. But even in his determination to become renounced in the forest, It didn't solve his problem. Until he actually got darshan of Lord Vishnu, then everything was solved. Everything was taken care of. So let us get darshan of the Lord in the form of his holy name and remember that he is within our heart, and then all this illusion will go away. Actually, we are hankering after him as a child seeks the mother. And to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we need not go anywhere else because the Lord is within our hearts. This does not suggest, however, that we should not go to the places of worship, namely temples, churches, and mosques. Such holy places of worship are also occupied by the Lord because the Lord is omnipresent. For the common man, these holy places are centers of learning about the science of God. When the temples are devoid of activities, the people in general become uninterested in such places, and consequently, the mass of people gradually become godless. Otherwise, if the temple is just a place where I perform some rituals, then the real purpose of going there is to get something from Krishna, and then gradually we will give it up, especially if we obtain what we wanted. Srila Prabhupada talks about this in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 3rd verse purport. He says, we have seen many people come. Once they get what they originally came to Krishna consciousness for, some relief from suffering, some material object, they go away. No. Only when one understands that the purpose of devotional service is just to worship Krishna, just to make Krishna happy, then when we make Krishna happy, he makes us more happy. Krishna can do that. He can give us more than we can give him. Of course, he sees that the devotee is giving more and he can't pay back. When the temples are devoid of activities, the people in general become uninterested in such places, and consequently the masses of people gradually become godless, and a godless civilization is the result. Such a hellish civilization artificially increases the conditions of life, and existence becomes intolerable for everyone. The foolish leaders of a godless civilization tried to devise various plans to bring about peace and prosperity in the godless world under a patent trademark of materialism. And because such attempts are illusory only, the people elect incompetent, blind leaders, one after another, who are incapable of offering solution. The only solution they have is how I can become more wealthy, and more powerful. That's the only solution. If we want at all to end this anomaly of a godless civilization, we must follow the principles of revealed scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, and follow the instructions of a person like Sri Shukadeva Goswami, who has no attachment for material gain. So this wonderful verse of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada practically explains the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So the point is that if we become attached to the Bhagavatam, it opens all the doors for the perfection of life. That's the purpose of the Bhagavatam, to glorify Krishna. And when we see Krishna glorified, also the Bhagavatam helps us to confront difficult situations. We see the dilemma of King Indradyumna and when he takes the form of Gajendra. We see the difficulties of Prasad Maharaj being tortured. We see that so many different conditions, they're all there. Kings, they're put into King Riga. We start out by seeing him as a lizard, and then we understand he became a lizard. Muchakunda, he was in a cave for thousands or millions of years. But everything becomes resolved by Krishna and Krishna's presence. That is the message of the Bhagavatam. Therefore we can see that our situation in this material world it has a solution. Sometimes people become hopeless because their suffering is greater than others, and they live on the relative platform. Instead of, as I mentioned, tat karma sankalpa vikalpakam mano, instead of seeing that my mind is just accepting and rejecting different things, and that creates so many problems in life, let my mind accept Krishna and reject material existence, and then everything will be resolved. So these are some thoughts on this verse. I'll stop here. Any question? Any comment? Yes.
We saw in the last Prabhupada is telling that one has to get attached to Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives all the conclusions and solution. But practically we see when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we sleepy, and in our practical experience, we want to do always active service. That attachment to read Srimad Bhagavatam for a longer time to get doesn't come. So
Well, we can't see the Bhagavatam as something theoretical. We have to see the Bhagavatam as reality. So, just like one time a devotee was, we were speaking, he had some anxiety about something was happening in his life. So I was reading the Bhagavatam, and he said, Maharaj, can't we speak about reality? And I said, well, I thought the Bhagavatam was reality, you know. So I thought that's what we're doing, you know. And he thought about it. He said, well, I guess this is reality, you know. He didn't like the reality of the Bhagavatam, you know. So, also I always recommend, when hearing about the Bhagavatam, you can do a systematic study. But if someone is having trouble doing systematic study or can't concentrate, then the best way to read the Bhagavatam is you think about something I want to resolve in my life. And you find in the Bhagavatam the part that deals with that. No, you ask questions to persons who know the Bhagavatam, and they will give you Bhagavat solutions because they know the Bhagavatam. And when you ask a question about something, when you want to know something, when you get the answer, you retain it. But if you're just reading the Bhagavatam, let me open it up here and study this Purusha Shukta confirmed, then it becomes very theoretical. And sometimes, you'll be reading and then you'll think, what's it talking about? Then you have to go back and a few paragraphs, try to figure out how I got to that paragraph, because I was thinking of something else. So until one learns to really systematically study, I always recommend that. Try to resolve some real question in your mind through the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. It will stick with you forever. Unless you're really an illusion and you forget about the answer to my question. Or you forget about the question. Illusion can do that. Any other question?
You spoke about the intelligence being under the mind.
Yep.
You make a inner statement
A summary statement?
Swapna and you said how we should actually
How we should actually... Well, how we should actually understand the illusion that, which is caused by Ishara Petasya Viparyayo Ashmiti. The illusion causes us to reverse our role with Krishna. And we want Krishna to provide. Of course, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Aham tam sarva papabhyo mokshayishami ma shuchaha. He says that I want you to depend on me, but he wants it to depend on him spiritually, not materially. Materially, everything is already arranged. It's already arranged by destiny, by karma. And if we can cut off the karma, the future karma, and just take care of this karma that's manifested in this body and this lifetime, and just patiently accept it, sushamikshama, patiently accept these karmatic situations, whether they be pleasant or unpleasant. We should see them the same. If it's pleasant or it's unpleasant, for a devotee it's the same. If something is very pleasant, well, I can do more service. I have more facility. And if it's not pleasant, I can internalize. I can think about Krishna and meditate more firmly on the holy name. So this is basically what's being said here. Don't reverse the situation. Don't run after the illusion of material existence. Just like in the second verse of the Bhagavatam, it says that this Bhagavatam is meant for distinguishing illusion from reality. So that's, as long as we live in illusion, Srila Prabhupada gives so many examples in this purport, we're lost. But when we accept the presence of the Lord within the heart, we understand that He is there, and we relate to Him in the sense that Paramatma will guide us. Paramatma will give us the intelligence to understand the Shastras, will give us if we want it, will give us the degree of concentration so that I can be absorbed in the holy name. And this is all very explicit in the Bhagavatam. So in this verse, that's what it's talking about. Understand that the Paramatma is Siddha, is fully competent to give you everything you need. You don't need anything else apart from what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna is giving us in Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us in the Sankirtan movement. So that's kind of the gist of the verse. Any other questions?
Can you just share some of your interactions with Srila Prabhupada?
What about Prabhupada?
Some of your interactions with Srila Prabhupada.
Well, I didn't have all that much association. No. Just one time, when in 1976, when I went to India for the first time, came here to India, and so I was fortunate that because my temple president, because at that time there were no rooms available, so you either had to sleep on the outer wall, which was not very pleasant, or the people who were like older devotees, they got to sleep on the patio outside of Prabhupada's room and on the bottom floor and the third floor, on the first floor, second floor, and third floor. So, because my temple president was an older devotee, he brought me with him, and then they asked Pushta Krishna, at that time Swami, said, "Does anyone know how to type?" And I was very good at typing. So I said, "No." I figured something's going to come of this, no. And he said, "Okay, you come here," and he put me staying right outside of Prabhupada's room. And I gave me a typewriter, and the first thing I had to type was all the sannyas mantras, because there were, I can't remember if it was 6 or 10, but I think it was 10 people took sannyas that year. So I had to type up the sannyas mantra. While I was typing it, I think, oh, this would be nice. This is a nice mantra. So I like this one. So, and then I got to type all kinds of things, and then the typing was over, but he just let me stay there. I made friends with Achyutananda Swami. He was the guard on that side. Brahmananda was the guard on the other side. So nobody could come, but I was on the inside. So I would go to Prabhupada's window and, just watch. Kind of stayed in a corner where he couldn't see me. I could see him, but he couldn't see me unless he went like that, which he didn't do. And I saw him dealing with all the different leaders and different situations. And I learned a lot, seeing how Prabhupada would, people would come in anxiety, and this is happening, that's happening. And Prabhupada was always in Sattva, he was in Vishuddha Sattva. He would listen, and then he would think about it, and then he would give a solution. Just like when Prabhupada called all of the devotees to come, and because there was this deprogramming, brainwashing, saying we were brainwashing, and they had these centers for deprogramming, meaning try to make someone understand that Krishna consciousness is not good. So all the devotees came, all the leaders came, waiting for Prabhupada was going to give the solution. So he took his pen and he went like this. He was looking at it, moved his pen, twirled it around a little bit. Then he said, so, they say we are brainwashing? Yes, Prabhupada. So what is the problem? He said, if the brain is dirty, it must be washed. No. Everybody goes, yes, Prabhupada. He said, anyway, there is no problem because they have no brain. No. And that was it. Jai Prabhupada, and everybody went back, and we had all these court cases. We won all the court cases. The whole thing was dispelled. Just by Prabhupada, just by his, we were talking about this yesterday, Maharaj and I, how Prabhupada could say the simplest thing, but the potency coming from the Bhagavatam, just, it was like electromagnetic pulse that went through you and completely got rid of everything and every interference. He could say the simplest thing, we are not this body. But it entered into you, and I'm going to act in such a way that I'm not this body, by the potency. So I saw Prabhupada's potency. Sometimes he would get angry, sometimes he would yell, at people when they, usually what I saw in 3 occasions, that Prabhupada, when he got angry, it was because somebody was negligent, and he already told them what to do and they didn't do it. Then he would become very angry. Prabhupada didn't like, and therefore he was always very happy with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, because he would tell him to do so, he would go do it, and do it pretty good. He was pretty competent. Of course, he got very angry with him in Juhu, because he went to the lawyer, and the lawyer convinced him that it's not necessary that we sign. And he came back, and Prabhupada said, where is the signature? And Prabhupada said, the lawyer said that it wasn't necessary. And Prabhupada became infuriated. He said, they don't want to sign because that is giving us the property. He sent him back, and he had to fight to finally got the signature. But boy, Prabhupada was very angry. But generally, that's what Prabhupada would become angry about. When people didn't, they didn't do what Prabhupada told them to do. Otherwise, he wouldn't become angry. Even if people were in Maya or something, he would just give some instruction. That's what I saw. Yes.
This question may sound a little abnormal, but I try to make it quite clear. See, the state law, when a person is caught, violated, he's put into prison.
Mm-hmm.
But he's given a choice. Either you undergo imprisonment for about 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, depending upon the degree of the crime, or you pay money, or both. If there is an option of paying money, he need not go into the jail and serve the term in the custody. Now, it may sound silly, please excuse me. In terms of spirituality, we have committed some crime, some offense, some time, when, where, we do not know. But we are fallen. And we are undergoing the so-called punishment on the face of this earth. Now, if I have to choose to skip this punishment on the face of the earth, and is there any other law, a spiritual law, which we have in the state law, paying money and avoiding the custody term, is there any other laws which we could avoid this punishment and then pay? If it is to be paid, how much and to whom? I'm sorry.
Yes, I
if I'm wrong, I don't know if
okay, I can, yes. The state,
making sense?
yes, I can explain that. The state law is
You
my,
have to again repeat my question for the people who are in the back.
I think everyone heard it? Everyone hear the question?
I think you could put it in a better way than I.
Well, basically, in summary, that if one is punished, if one commits a crime, then there is an option of either going to jail, you're punished, or you pay a fine. So how can that apply to Krishna consciousness if we make a mistake in Krishna consciousness, in our spiritual life? Yes, the state law is Maya, and Maya, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, she's very strict, but we can pay, Sabradamam Padichaja Mamikam Shanam. We give up, we pay, we give up our dharmas, our attachments, and surrender to Krishna. That is the payment. And then we can escape this punishment of Maya. That's the payment.
Yeah. Now I'm retired. I have some, let's say, some money. And how could I clear my karma in the form of donating it to...
We're building a big temple here. Whatever you have, you can invest it there, and that investment will be permanent spiritual credit.
And free?
Well, Krishna says Krishna's not interested in money. No. We're more interested in money. Krishna has all money. He has.
But in the spiritual law, what does it say?
So yes.
Here we say money, but in spiritual context, what is that?
It means surrendering to Krishna. Surrendering to Krishna. And the best way to surrender to Krishna, which was recommended because in the beginning of the 6th canto of this Bhagavatam, the 5th canto at the end is speaking about hellish planets. So Parikshit Maharaj very intelligently says, it seems to me that people are very foolish. They try to compensate for their sinful activities. They go to hell and then they commit the same crimes again and they go back in a hellish condition. And so he compared it to the bathing of the elephant. The elephant bathes and then goes and throws dirt on his body to dry off. So Shukadeva Goswami said you can do penances and austerities and sacrifices, the Vedic system. But he said, he gave the answer. He said, but unfortunately, just like if you burn bamboo, the root is still in the ground. So he's saying you have to take out the root. And then he said, Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya, that by performing devotional service without any expectation of any reward, then you can take out the root cause. So this is the thing that Krishna wants. If you do it through money, because it depends on what's dear to you. What is the most dear thing to you that is illusory, that's keeping you in this world? You sacrifice that for Krishna. That is the root cause of being here. So you give that to Krishna? No. Whether it be money or my life, the Bhagavatam says, Prayar artar diya vacha. We can give one of these or all of these things. My life, my wealth, my intelligence, or my words. So a devotee gives all these things. A devotee gives his life to Krishna, his possessions to Krishna. It doesn't mean you have to give them. You have to give them. But if you do, we won't refuse. But you give them, it means you understand that this all belongs to Krishna. I'm just using it in his service. I have a house. This house belongs to Krishna. I'm just staying there. He's made me the custodian of this place. And I have to use it, be very responsible, and use my house so that my family becomes Krishna conscious. Or Diya, my intelligence. Instead of thinking it's my intelligence, Krishna is the source of all intelligence. So let me use my intelligence for figuring out how to serve Krishna or how to engage others in Krishna's service. By vacha, by speaking about Krishna. Instead of speaking about what the weather today or this political situation or this problem in life, let me speak about Krishna. So that's how we pay. Hare Krishna.
I got my answer.
Good. I'm
So
glad.
you mean to say sacrifice, devote your time and
Your time, your intelligence, your words. Rupa Goswami, our grand acharya of this sampradaya, he says, Iha yasya harir dasye kamana manasa gira nikilasya sevastasya jivan mukta sa uchate. You become a jivan mukta when you want to serve Krishna, but because you're living in this world, you dedicate your actions, your words, and your thoughts in the service of Krishna. Even though it may appear that you're like any other person in this world, no, you are actually liberated because everything is for Krishna's sake. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava